Teresa.
Hi, Manny.
How are you? I'm so glad that we're doing this. You brought this up to me. I hinted that we did a different one a few months back, and it worked out well. And then you came up with this, and I was like, let's do this. I want to totally do this, right? So here we are. You back, Steps of Happiness.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. Totally pumped. I've always wanted a call-in show and to do this with you and in this space and with your listeners. I just feel like it's such a natural extension of my life and what I know, like from my side, right? Not
totally.
Being connected to the construction space.
But you haven't really spoken to construction people per se at this level.
No, but I mean, I'm sure I've always rubbed off my happiness.
Yeah, of course.
Strategies and things, naturally come up in conversation when, the circles that I'm in, there are a lot of them are people that work in the trades, right? It's my husband is in the trades, all of his friends, all the really close ones are all in the trades too. So
I like the compliments. I like the compliments that are coming in from these types of shows because I never really was so focused on creating a construction, so to speak, show. I just didn't want it to be about swinging a hammer and talking about tools and how many screws we can put in with this tool and that stuff. I was like, yeah, that's important. We'll talk 50% of that, but I actually want to talk about the trades people. And we all have problems dealing with our happiness. We all get swamped by life, professionally, personally, all kinds of stuff. And I think that as people in the industry and also as parents, as fathers and mothers and everybody, like you quickly forget about you, right? Whereas what you come in and what you do and how you speak to people. And I think that we've got 7 people that we're going to speak to on this show. We've got 6 men and 1 woman and we don't know exactly what they're going to bring up, but we'll definitely reach out to them. We'll talk to them. We'll give them each 15 minutes. And then I'd love for you to just jump right in and just talk about, how we can help them with their steps of happiness, right?
Yeah. I'm so excited for that. And you're exactly right that it's like life gets its claws into us and has us feeling a whole host of other things. Mm-hmm. So that at the core of who we are always love, peace, and happiness. Happiness, and I think this is important to state because it's important for people to understand where happiness resides, mm-hmm. right? There's many misconceptions about where it is, which it's all outside of ourselves. So people think it's found in our possessions, positions, titles, degrees, relationships, experiences, and appearance. So they're all stuck in, I'll be happy when I get that house, that perfect relationship, that degree at school, that sports car, wherever it is, right? There's a whole consumerism and marketing around happiness being something that we need to achieve, we need to search for, we need to find. How do we find more where do I find more happiness? How do I achieve? So it's all of this outside, but happiness is an innate quality of our spiritual self, which means that it is always inside of us. It's just a matter of us finding time to tap into it. So when we don't feel it, it means we're disconnected or not aligned with the happiness that's always inside.
I think the older you get, the more blinded you get to happiness. You don't realize how simple certain things will make you happy, and they're right in front of your face, and you don't even realize that they're there. As you get older, because you're so consumed by everything else that you just mentioned. Mm-hmm. That's the really interesting part of it.
I think it could go 2 ways. It's either I think people are very disconnected because they're so far away from it. Mm-hmm. So then you forget. But then at the other side, I feel like with life and the older you get, you start to realize that it is about the simple things, right? That you have tried to achieve all of this stuff outside of you, that this is what began my work over 10 years ago, is that I had achieved all the things that family, society, culture, religion told me I needed to have a happy life. So fulfilling career, beautiful, healthy family, our own home, cars in the driveway, vacations here, lots of beautiful material things, right? So let's say, at the halfway point, we've achieved all of these things. Yeah. And now we're left wondering, well, why are we still not happy? And, depends how far away you've gotten from that. Can depend, as you said, like where is the happiness because you're so disconnected.
Can you share your details again? Instagram is under Teresa Greco _ Steps of Happiness.
Yeah.
And then email or website?
Yeah, my website is teresagreco.ca. My email is stepstotruehappiness@gmail.com. I'm on Facebook, Teresa Greco.
You're
or
on
Steps
LinkedIn,
to-
you're everything. We've been
everything.
sharing everybody. So it's easy to get a hold of you. And I just, before we call our first caller, I just want to let everybody know that actually this morning I repotted a little basil plant of mine because it was outgrowing the plant that it was.
Oh, nice.
In the plant, the pot that I was in. And I was like, that was making me happy because I just like, I don't know what it is, if it's an age thing. Now I understand my parents coming from gardening and coming from that whole mindset about doing things in the earth. That makes you happy, right? So I mean, this morning before we got started, I actually made a little list of certain things that make me happy. And it was just funny that the first thing that came to my mind was building for myself. And it wasn't so much that I've got such a hatred towards clients or anything like that. I'm just saying that I get a lot more joy from building for myself. But that's not just the rental part of it too. It was also building like the rental, a story, an image, a friendship, like sharing information. All that building makes me happy. I was really fascinated that I've forgotten that because that's all we ever did as when we were younger. We were looking for our circle of friends. When we got older and we were getting into post-sec or whatever it was, you start really connecting with certain people and then you're just building relationships. You're building all kinds of stuff. And I don't think a lot of people these days do that much building going on in their lives, right?
I think that building is an example of our creativity.
Yeah.
Right? That we are creators made in the likeness of our creator, which means it is our natural instinct to create. I think that some people that are, on the couch every day watching Netflix and doing nothing with their life is actually going against what our natural instinct to do. And how we express that creativity is individual to all of us, right?
Yeah.
So it could be building in some respects, it could be cooking, drawing, painting, gardening, like whatever that is, but we're constantly creating. We're creating when we make a sandwich, when we make a meal, when we make our coffee, when we create our outfit for the day or whatever it is. We're constantly creating.
Simple little things that make you happy.
Mm-hmm. And I'm so glad that you took the time because that is what building your happiness toolkit is all about. It is, and I like to use it, but it's almost like so appropriate for what we're talking about, your toolkit, but this is your happiness one. So inside of there has all of the different things that make you happy that you can turn to when you're not feeling happy.
Yep.
And some people don't even know what that is because, again, they've lost themselves in the living of their life by trying to be, the perfect mom, perfect father, perfect boss, perfect, or, you're being pulled in so many directions that you might reach a point now that maybe some of your kids have started to fly the nest. You have a little more time. And it's like, geez, what were those things that brought me joy when I had more time?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's good that you took some time to figure
I just
that
did.
out.
I mean, obviously, on other things on the list is riding a motorcycle. I've always gotten a kick out of that. It's not about speed. Making people laugh. I definitely think I'm a funny guy at times. My dogs always made me happy. Like whenever you had a bad day or whatever, an animal knows that you're not having a good day, and they're more than willing to just nudge you and remind you. There's some goodness there, right?
Yeah.
And then also like family heritage. I'm really big now that I've gotten older, understanding our roots, understanding where we came from, understanding what hurdles or difficulties parents, grandparents, people went through and how you've got it pretty easy nowadays, and never forget that. Totally never forget that and understand how they were. And then I still, I get a kick out of it watching a good movie, listening to great music, like just little things like that. All those little tiny things that are not really just monetary consuming items. They're really simple things that will just put a smirk on your face, turns into a smile on your face, turns into a laughter. Right? That's what we really want to achieve, right? So
yeah, and it is. It's about the things that money can't buy. That's really what it is, right? Because the things that money can buy, we might feel good for a couple of days or a week, and then we're back to feeling the way that exactly. Yeah. But it's those things that you just mentioned. Like even on my way here to the podcast, I have like a playlist of songs that just like totally pump me up, right? So you're like, Teresa, how you feel? I'm like, oh, I'm so good because I was listening to those songs that like increase your energy, increase your vibration, and then that just rubs off on everybody that you meet afterwards. And so if you know that you're going into a situation where you're like, oh my God, I really don't want to be there because of like, this person or that person or what it is that you're doing, it's important that you fill your cup before you go out into that space, because then if that space is going to like drain you, you have reserves.
Yep.
Because you've been pumping yourself beforehand. Exercise is such a great.
That's a big one too.
Yeah.
All right. You ready for the first one?
Yes.
Let me do this. A little high. Is that okay? I hope he answers. He's not answering. What's going on here? Oh.
Maybe he needed a reminder.
No, I gave him. I told him about that. It's still ringing, so I guess he doesn't have his voicemail. I don't know what's happening. Let's see if he calls me back.
Do you need to text him maybe? Say, hey, it's us. Calling you.
Oh, he said he couldn't hear it. Hang on a sec.
Oh, good.
All right, call him back right now.
Hello.
Jonathan.
Oh, I can hear you now.
Sorry, with the phone on ringer or on vibrate? Sorry.
No, I answered, but it was like dead air.
Oh, really? That's weird. It kept on ringing on our end. Well, oh no. Okay, thanks so much, Jonathan, for taking the time to come on the show.
You're welcome.
Teresa's right here with us, so she's on the headset. So Teresa, meet Jonathan.
Hi. So nice to meet
Hi,
you.
Teresa. Hi.
Hi.
How's your day going?
Pretty good so far. I'm excited. This is good.
I know that we briefly chatted, and then I kind of left you, I guess, a little bit of homework and try to figure out if you can bring up something that you want to look at.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Sorry. You're in and out on me. I'm hearing every other word. Try again.
Really?
I got you now.
You can hear me now? Totally fine?
Holy.
Is that better? Is that fine?
Nope. Manny.
What's going on? Hello?
Okay, I got you. Don't move.
Okay, you can hear me fine? Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, sorry, Jonathan. So I know that I left you with a little bit of homework regarding when we called you, and I just want to get an idea of where you think in your life you can improve on your happiness, whether that's personally, professionally, or like how's everything going? I know that everything's not perfect all the time, right?
Absolutely not perfect all the time. And great question. Thank you for that. For me, professionally is weighing me down. Professional is an area that for me.
When did the work weigh you down? Like at what point in your life did the work start weighing you down?
The current work I'm doing started to weigh me down, I would say, in the past 12 months.
Okay.
And were you excited about the work before that?
Absolutely. I'm still tremendously excited about it. I get frustrated with the work. I get frustrated, Teresa, pushing for the results, and it's like, you know, the dopamine hits in our brain. Like, I want the results. I want the results. And, you know, for me, it sometimes it becomes energy sucking.
And may I ask what kind of work you do?
Yeah, sure. Great. I'm in the people development space, coaching, mentoring, workshops,
and
speaking engagements, consulting.
And what aspect of the work do you feel weighs you down?
What aspect of the, say that one more time.
What aspect of the work? Is it like the paper work part of it? Is it the working with the clients part? Like, is it the scheduling? Like, what part of the work is it that seems to be dragging you down? Because if we can isolate.
Yeah, love it. Great question. Simple answer for me. It's the folks making the decisions. I have so much to offer and can help so many individuals. And I get frustrated where it's almost like too much tire kicking, right?
Do you feel, Jonathan, that you're helping other people, but you're neglecting yourself?
At times, sure. I would say that, and that's a great question. At times I feel like I'm a sponge taking in a lot of energy. And if I'm not aware, if my self-awareness is depleted and I don't have the resources to manage that appropriately, which happens enough, that, man, it kills me.
Mm-hmm. And it makes
Energy-wise.
sense when you're in that helping profession, that it's like that metaphor or analogy of putting the oxygen mask on ourselves first before we can help others. So how are you increasing your energy, your vibration, so that when you need to work with individuals who are not high energy and high vibration because of, whatever it is that they're dealing with? Because if our energy isn't overflowing, it's not enough for our cup just to be full. It actually has to be overflowing, so that when people take from that, then we're never on a deficit.
Right.
So what kind of things do you do before you go into your work that has you overflowing with energy and enthusiasm and everything that you need to bring?
Great question. For me, the days that I'm on fire is when I've done the most preparation, where I've taken my time for myself, whether that's most times in the morning. I do a lot of self preparation work in the morning, versus if it's a bit more of a discombobulated morning. That's when I notice that, man, I'm not in full alignment, and I get there's exhaustion that sets in the afternoon, where I'll have to recalibrate.
And that self-awareness piece is so important, right? So that if we don't want to be going through life on autopilot, where it's wake up, go to work, come home, eat, sleep, repeat, because then you reach the end of the week or the end of the year or the end of the decade, and you're like, oh my God, where did my life go? Because we're just living on autopilot. You get to work, you don't even know how you got there, because you're not present to your life at all. And so I'm so glad to hear that you said, I noticed that on those mornings when things, aren't as smooth, or, things seem to be, in maybe pulling me in different directions, I don't happen to feel, that I'm going into work, as the best version of ourselves. And I think that if we think about how we want to show up in our lives, right? Like, what does that look like? What does the best version of myself look like? Mm-hmm. Then we can put structures into place that can facilitate that. So when you said life is kind of pulling you all over, what led to that? Was it because, you pressed snooze on your phone too many times, or you didn't maybe go to bed on time and you're waking up kind of tired? Like, what contributes to the morning not going as smoothly, and therefore and that absolutely affects the rest of our day?
Right. And I think that, for what I've noticed for myself, is there's no one factor, Teresa. It's a compounding effect, right? Because sometimes if one thing is off, there might be enough resilience to pivot around that, right? But it's the compounding factor of, did I eat late, sleep poorly, not get up, push snooze too many times? Well, I mean, then it's kind of, that's where I'll notice the depletion. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Because our energy is like a cup, right? So if we think of, a cup is either half full or half empty, we have to constantly be pouring into that cup. So what kind of things can you do? So we, Manny and I were just talking about having what I call your happiness toolkit. And
sure.
your toolkit has all of the different things that you can turn to that help to all of a sudden bring up your energy, help you really, essentially what that toolkit is doing is helping you to tune in to your inner happiness. So I see happiness like, we'll use this analogy of the electricity that's flowing, through all of the walls. And you need to schedule in time to plug in to that electricity to fill up your battery. And our body is like this rechargeable battery that if we plug into the electricity, now we're charging. But if we don't make time to plug in, how are we going to recharge our batteries? And so that happiness toolkit are those things that as soon as we tap in, as soon as we make time for whatever that is, making sure that the people that we're surrounded by allow us, that in essence, when we hang out with them, like me hanging out with Manny today, is like, this is me plugging in. This is just like the battery is like recharging here, because we're talking about things that I feel so excited about, but it totally raises my vibration. So what are those things for you? And those things should also be things that we can plug into really quickly. So 10 minutes of being like tapped into that makes us feel good. And then some of those things that maybe might take a little bit longer. So what are some of those things that you might need to like tap into that are in your toolkit?
So are you talking short-term bursts? Like I heard you say 10 minutes. You're looking for a 10-minute?
No, whatever those are for you, whatever. Because Manny shared. Manny, did you share some of the things on your list?
On my list, yeah. I was just sharing little things. Like this morning, Jonathan, I repotted my basil plant into a larger pot. I got a kick out of that. Am I old and stupid and senile? Maybe. All three. I don't know. But it made me happy. Something simple like that made me happy. Right?
Yeah. Totally got it. Totally got it.
So I mean, I guess if there's like little things for you, Jonathan, that you can think of, that little things that are kind of giving you those little bursts.
I'll tell you something that shifts my energy pretty quickly, and it's going to sound crazy, is that and maybe it's crazy, but it works for me, is that if there's a moment in the day where I'm mentally and even physically exhausted, I will literally run up and down the stairs 10 times. So we have a stairs from ground floor to basement, which is 22 steps. And I'll do up and down 10 times, which takes not very long.
Seconds. Yeah.
Seconds. And then after that, it's like, okay, let's rock and roll. Let's reset.
I like that.
So that for me, I like to move my body. So I also get physically, I think I get mentally depleted if I'm not moving enough. So that seemed to be something that's a quick fix for me. I haven't done it for a while, but I do. When I used to structure Fridays as a day. I would protect that day as much as possible to do things like a sensory deprivation tank, or even things like scheduling a haircut. Would just be like, that's it. I felt so much. I would feel so much better than, oh my gosh, I need to get a haircut, and scrambling. So the planning.
Did it get to the point where you got excited about getting to that moment, to that day, that opportunity?
Yeah, I did, absolutely, because it was like, ooh, I'm going to go do that. I'm going to go for a haircut, and then after that, I feel so much better. Like, okay, well, now what? What's next, right? From a clarity standpoint, the brain is clear, thoughts are flowing.
Yeah. We got to let you go soon, but the thing is, I want to ask you, Jonathan, when you are on, like when you are actually having a good, happy day and everything's working really well, or when you're not, and the complete opposite, are the people around you noticing both?
Absolutely. Oh, that's a hell yeah, instantaneously.
But what do you do when you're not with the people around you and you have those moments? Either they're the dark or the light side of things, right? How do you handle, or how can you handle that?
So if they're not around me and I have a dark moment, I took a deep breath there. I don't know if there's a short answer for that.
No, probably not. Probably not.
It's no dependent. Sometimes it's, here's another crazy one is I literally will lie on the floor for 10 minutes.
And breathe. I encourage you to do conscious breathing when you're doing that, because it resets the nervous system. The breath is like one of the quickest and most simplest way for us to reset the nervous system when we're feeling stressed and overwhelmed. Closing our eyes and just breathing deeply. One of the breath work techniques that I really like is the inhale for 4 seconds and exhaling for 7. That exhale for 7, it takes basically your breath like out of the rhythm, and now that longer exhale resets. So your nervous system's like, okay, it's time to calm down. It's time to bring me back to myself. So I think that's great, and just like pay attention to your breathing while you're there on the ground.
This has been great, Jonathan. Thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. We'll get you back on the show.
My pleasure.
And we'll talk again. But I got to let you go now. We got a few more people to call.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you.
All right, enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Hey, that went well.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's
I hope
call-
it was a good reminder for him to tap in.
Yeah, I'm sure it will as well. And I think that he's probably going to get back to me and probably let me know about some other insight that he didn't think about right away. Sorry, I'm just trying to do double duty here and trying to make call to Alex in New Brunswick. I think he's in.
My question, I mean, he might, when he listens to this too, is that he said he used to carve out Fridays for himself. And it sounds like he's lost that. So hopefully it was a reminder for him to maybe see what he can do
we'd even get into that.
to leave Fridays open for some of that.
Hey, Alex.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. It's Manny.
Hey.
How are you? Can you hear me okay?
It's a little dropping in and out.
Well, I don't even know why this. How's that? Is that better? Or is that worse? Or how's that doing?
It's a little roboty still.
Oh, it's still okay. I don't know. How's that? Is that better? Why is it? Can you hear us, Alex? Let me try to call him again. Hang on a sec. He's in Edmonton. Sorry, I didn't realize he was in Edmonton.
Hello?
Hey, Alex.
Hey.
You can hear me fine now?
Yeah, that works better.
Okay, that's better. Okay, all right. Alex, meet Teresa. Teresa, Alex.
Hi.
Hi, Teresa.
Hi. Thanks so much for being with us today.
Alex is from at Blue Collar Collective 506. You're in Alberta, no?
I was in Alberta. I'm back here on the East Coast now in New Brunswick.
Oh, in New Brunswick. That's what I thought. Okay, yeah, but you still have the Alberta number though.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks so much for taking the time and jumping on the show here and having a brief conversation with us about this call show that we're doing with Teresa.
No problem.
I guess the first question to you is there a specific anything going on in your life, personally or professionally, regarding happiness or lack of happiness that's going on?
Well, I guess happiness is a daily thing that I'm working towards. It's a struggle for me personally with my ADHD and a little bit of some other spicy things. But it is a daily thing that I have to work on, and I put some things in place to do better every day, and that's what I work towards.
Mm-hmm.
When did you start noticing, like, how young are you, man?
I'm 34.
And when did you start noticing that things were slightly off, something was going on?
I noticed that my personality was a problem probably around 26.
Okay.
I started to have an awareness around it, at least.
And when you say that you work on your happiness every day, because we were, I've been on Manny's show before, and we were talking about where people feel their happiness resides, right? That there's many misconceptions around where happiness is, and we say things like, where can I find happiness? Where do I search for it? How do I achieve it? Maybe how do I buy it? Where do I go? And that happiness is somewhere outside of ourselves, rather than looking at happiness like the electricity that we can plug into in the wall at any time, that we have happiness within us, and it is within us in abundance. And there isn't anything that we need to buy, wait for, search for, go to a particular location, wait for it. None of these things that we can plug into the electricity that's flowing through our walls at any time to tap in. So when you say that you work on your happiness, what exactly does that mean? Is it you working for happiness outside of yourself, or is it looking for you to finding time to tap into it within yourself?
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. I would say, like, when I was younger, 26 and under, I was thinking that happiness was something that I needed to connect to, like having a shiny this or a big this. And then, once since turning a little bit older, I've started to notice that my happiness is how I start my day and my routine and the habits that I try to keep in place to, set myself up for that day of happiness.
That's so important, because if a lot of people are waiting to be happy, which means I won't be happy until I buy that big house. I won't be happy until I find that perfect relationship. I won't be happy until I have like X number of dollars in my bank account. I won't be happy. And they postpone their happiness because they are looking for factors outside of themselves to be a particular way to then feel like, finally. I've earned the happiness that I'm looking for. And meanwhile, happiness, we don't have to wait for it. Like, it is inside us at any moment. But if we don't leave ourselves any time, right? So if we work 60 to 80 hours a week and we get to the end of the week and we say, my life sucks. Yeah, it does. Because how much time did you spend connecting to your inner happiness? And what connects each of us is individual. And it's important for us to know what those things are. So when you said, I noticed that my happiness is, how I start my day off in the morning. And for me, my happiness starts with my cup of coffee. Like, honestly, oh my God.
So if you don't get it, you're not happy?
I'm looking for that. Like, that is like, I look forward to my cup of coffee in the morning. When I go to bed, I'm like, ooh, tomorrow I can't wait to have my first cup of coffee, because it literally brings me so much joy. And so that's why it's like, yeah. And that is a way for me when I start off my morning and I have, cream in my fridge, because that's what I love to put in my coffee. And I have my pods ready to go. It's going to be a good day for me.
Let me ask you, Alex, do you feel now your happiness is kind of connected to almost like a light switch?
Yeah.
What I mean by that is, because I've been noticing it myself, where everything's not really running perfect, and all of a sudden something negative happens and it just puts you in a different state of mind. But then quickly, a few minutes later, something more positive happens and you just change. It's almost like a light switch has just been put on, and you're like trying to figure out, how did that bring me down, and then how did that something else bring me back up? So are you noticing that shift in happiness is almost like a light switch?
Yeah, I definitely feel that. And it's something, a light switch is a physical way to, turn something inside you on. And that's kind of exactly what it is for me. If I've worked so many different aspects in the construction industry, a lot of weather dependent scenarios. So one of the things I had to work on was waking up and my first thought being, oh, I hope I get rained out today. Like, I don't want to go to work. Mm-hmm. And, that would just set my whole day up to just suck if I had to go into work. And that's one of those things now where, I wake up and I have to change that frame of thought. And those are things that I have to actively do as, someone with my personality type. So I know it's been hard.
That's not just you. That's everybody. That our mindset determines how we feel. It all starts with thoughts. Our emotions, when we reflect on our emotions to say, oh, if I'm feeling angry, frustrated, upset, like you said, you don't want to go into work. Well, what thought did you just have prior to that emotion that led you to feel like that? And so unfortunately, many people are in jobs that they don't love, but they're doing it for like a variety of different reasons. Right. And so that's why our happiness toolkit is important, because it is those things that we know that is not our job, unfortunately, that brings us joy. But we also have to try to find what are the good aspects that we can still like look for the positive inside of the negative that can help us to set that positive intention for the day, to say, okay, a lot of times we feel like we don't want to go into work because we haven't had a good night's sleep. And maybe we didn't have a good night's sleep because we had like too much alcohol the night before, or we were up late, and so when you wake up the next morning, physically, you're not feeling the best. And then mentally now you're like, oh, I don't feel like going. And so there's a whole bunch of factors that self-awareness is very important. So that, when you said, oh, I have to look at my mind and what it's saying, that's all of us. We have to be conscious of setting a good intention for the day to say, today is going to be a good day. And it's going to be a good day because this is how I'm going to show up in my life today, regardless of what everyone else is doing, because it really doesn't matter what other people are doing, is how can I serve myself? What can I put into place that's going to help me to have the best day possible?
Yep.
Let me ask you, Alex, do you say hello to strangers first, or do strangers say hello to you first?
It's a recent thing for me, where I've been the one to say it first, but pretty much 15 years in the industry, I've never been that type. I've always thought having an unapproachable face would make me more of a man on the job site. So that's kind of how I set myself up for most of my years.
No, I agree with you. I know I could totally see that. I think just lately, I think in the last 10 years, I've been saying hello, and I don't have a care in the world as a result of it. Whether you want to frown back at me, it doesn't matter to me. At least I made the effort to smile,
Yeah,
right?
I've noticed it in the past few years of actively working on myself that, being more of an extrovert has helped me with, feeling better at the job that I go to and the crew that I work with. And it makes it, a lot easier in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the industry is a lot happier these days? Or you think we're going into a downward spiral?
I think we're in a confusing place.
Yeah.
There's a lot of really good new information, but it's we still have a lot of old generational cowboys in the industry, and it's just a weird mix of the two right now.
There's a clash. I could totally see it. There's a clash going on for sure.
But I think it's 100% getting better. You mentioned my blue collar collective. I have a peer support group here for blue collar people, and I've had 64-year-old men come into my blue collar group and share stories where just the past 2 years that they've started working on their mental health, and that is huge to see.
That's amazing.
It was really eye opening.
I think that when you said, do you think things are in an upward spiral or downward? I think that the world, there's always, and I'm going to swear now, shit going on in the world.
That's your swear word?
versus me not swearing. So there's always things happening outside of ourselves that are outside of our control. Most of life is outside of our control. And so it's important for us always to think about what can my response be to what's happening outside of myself. So when you said, like, when I show up on the job site and then I have to deal with, like, the people that I'm going to work with, whatever, however they show up, that's outside of your control. All you can control is, how do I want to show up in my life in every moment? And when you, Manny, said, I've recently just been saying hello to everybody, we need to show up as our true and authentic self. And mine is where I am just this happy, bubbly person wanting to talk to everybody and just sprinkling happy fairy dust on everyone. And I don't care. Like, and I feel, and having compassion for people that, have things going on and are not feeling the way I am about my life, but I am creating my life moment by moment by how I choose to show up. So it's important for you to make that choice of, like, how do you want the day to go? And it will go based on how you intend it to go. And I mean, I do lots of different types of work. And part of some days of the week, I still work with children, and children are very unpredictable. I never know what my day could be like with them. And so I set the intention in the morning that today's going to be a good day and kids are going to be in a good mood. And it unfolds like that. I don't know. It's magical, really. But I invite you to set the intention for how you want the day to be. And I really think that magically people are going to be in a better mood. Like, however you want them to show up.
Yeah.
That's what's going to end up
Be
presenting.
the change.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
Thank you. I love that quote. It's one of my most favorite quotes.
Alex, we got to let you go. I really appreciate you taking the time to get on board, and I'm definitely going to encourage people to check out Alex there at Blue Collar Collective 506, and I have a lot of respect for you for what you're doing and what you're helping with the industry, young and old, and we know that more of you. We need more Alexes out there doing what's going on with what you're doing out east there. And hopefully it grows up to the point where it's actually going to show up in every province and territory, which would be really nice to see.
Awesome. I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Thanks, man. So much. I appreciate it. We'll talk again because I'm definitely going to have you on the show and we'll see what happens in the future. I'm sure we'll be doing something together.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Thank you. Take care. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Hey, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was great.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Okay,
It's so good. And that's why I have a feeling that people are going to bring up, different little touch points of how, where they are in their life, how they show up, how they're waking up in the morning, their outlook on things. So this is great.
We're calling Clifford. I hope this connects. I don't know why the phone is.
Hi.
Clifford.
How are you?
You can hear me fine? Is it okay?
Yes, sir. Hear
Awesome.
Me good?
Clifford, meet Teresa.
Hi.
Hey, Teresa.
Hi.
How's everything, Clifford?
Busy. Same old.
I can imagine. Are you working today or not working today?
No, working out. That's about it.
Oh, that's a good thing. So Clifford has Pegasus Underpinning. So he does a lot of the... He does the easy parts of construction, and I'm totally joking by that. He does really hard work, and he's got a lot of stuff going on in his life, but he's managing quite a bit, and I got a lot of respect for you too, and he's been on the show a few times and shared quite a bit of valuable information to other tradespeople. So that's why I invited you on this and just wanted to have a chat with you and see what's going on in your life these days, Clifford.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. Just like I say, lots of pressure, lots of work, just that it comes hand in hand, I suppose. I've got 5 projects going right now, so a lot happening, but trying to find leads is probably the hardest part of that. So 5 projects and then me in the middle, just trying to keep everything, I'm balancing a lot of plates, so to speak, so to say.
Do you feel like as we get older, financial fights with happiness and vice versa?
Yeah, 100%. It's because you spread amongst so many. You've got to really be on top of your finances because, especially if you spread out between a lot of projects. You've obviously it's good having all the projects. It looks good on, to say you've got 5 projects sounds good, but there's a lot that comes with that. Obviously a lot of finances, a lot of ingoings, a lot of outgoings. So yeah, it's definitely.
Teresa, is it okay for, you've got a very good sense of tradespeople and how we become so all consumed by construction and we forget to take time for ourselves. But is it okay literally for a person like Clifford who's got 5 jobs on the go and just basically say, I'm taking a me week, a me time, and just kind of shut it down and maybe hand off the responsibilities to somebody else for a brief period of time for us to recharge kind of idea?
Yeah, we need that. However long you can give yourself, it's so important. And
how do we do that? How do we start to do that?
To schedule in that time.
Just
100%.
It might be where it's just like an afternoon, right? And then once you're okay, I think, things are getting handled even, while I'm not here this afternoon because I'm playing golf. Mm-hmm. And that's okay, maybe I can start to make that a whole day. Or, and then, continuing to increase that based on how you see your business continuing to manage itself. And then maybe having to put in structures so that you allocate some of your responsibilities to someone else to give you a little bit more of that freedom to say, okay, if I've got the scheduling, I've got, to where am I putting my guys for the day? How can I maybe have someone in the office be in charge of like scheduling those people? So now that, I don't have to be there. Or if you're showing up at the shop at like 7:00 in the morning because, you need to set your employees off for the day, maybe if I put set up, all their material or equipment or whatever, they might night for the morning, having that all set up for them the night before, and now you don't have to come in at like 7:00. You can come in at 12:00. So like what kind of structures can you put into place that would therefore allow you to continue to build more and more of like that me time into your week?
Right.
Do you see that, Clifford? Like I'm kind of trying to figure out how is it possible to kind of take the everyday?
Yeah, that's the thing is, it's obviously the trust value of passing, on to other people and trying to find that people that are capable, not just people that say they're capable, which is, happens a lot in construction, as you probably know. There's a lot of people that, they say they know how to do something and then you show up and it's nothing that you've asked. There's a lot of that. And then, as a business owner, then you start, this is where the pressure on your shoulders starts to grow, where you start to realize, money lost, time lost, where you could have just been there.
I hear that. Yes, I heard that. My husband owns his own business, and so and the suggestions that I'm giving is because they own several different businesses in in trades, couple different areas even just connected to that, and so this is and it's family business. So I'm also looking at it from the perspective of the different brothers that are working together and how they're all managing their me time, and so this is exactly some of the things that they put into place, but I get that all the time, that my husband's like, geez, when I'm not there, like this could have been done in the morning and now it's the whole day. But I think in the end, we have to, like, I don't know if some people are perfectionist types, right? Where it's very difficult for them to let go because nothing is going to measure up to like how they would do it. But I think you have to then weigh on a balance to say, okay, is it my health here at the sacrifice of like, me losing money because the job could have been done half a day sooner. And I think we're in a time now, unfortunately, I think for consumers, that construction's able to charge pretty much like, what it is. Unfortunately, it's, the cost. So now my employees have to be there for the full day instead of half a day if I was there, and that just gets added on. So it's like, it is the cost, as you said.
Clifford, are you seeing more days on site, especially I guess in today's challenging economical times, where you're having to prove your worth and your price and your dollar and to clients and to deliver, and you're trying to still please everybody, but are you finding yourself more often on site and having that internal voice say to yourself, I got to get out of here for the sake of my happiness. I got to get some sanity in me for just a brief moment. I'm not saying that you would do that every day where people start thinking you have a drinking problem or something like that, but I'm just like, do you find it? Because there's been plenty of moments when I've been on job sites, I've been on projects, and it's organized chaos, but in my mind, it's not organized chaos. It's actually just chaos, and I have to step off. Yeah.
Well, that's how I deal with things now. Is obviously a lot more different than how I used to deal with things. Is like I do schedule. When that day ends, that's how I deal with it. Like, I'll deal with it in the morning with a fresh head, a fresh start, and kind of come back at it a lot more energized. I'll schedule my workouts in. That has to happen at the end of the day. And I think I mentioned to you before, Manny, on one of the things is like, I treat workouts like I'm making money from it. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, if I don't get that, things suffer down the line. And that's how I treat my day. Is just like I said, like I when people call me, at the end of the day, if that phone was in an office, not next to me, what would I do? That would ring to voicemail. Yeah. And that's how it is. And the day, I treat my workout time like I'm making money from it, because at the end of the day, it technically is. You know, it's keeping me my mind in the right place, and everything else isn't suffering because of it.
Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging that, because exercise is one of those happy habits, because when we exercise, it helps our body to produce happiness hormones like dopamine and oxytocin, serotonin. The endorphins are flowing through our body. So it is one of those ways of being able to tap into our happiness. We've been talking about happiness as the electricity that is flowing through the walls. And as soon as we plug in, it recharges our batteries. And so when our batteries are full, as you said, it literally allows you to do all of the other things that you need to do. I think another important concept to bring into the conversation is, especially like someone like you that's managing so many different things versus being the employer is different than being the employee. And the employer is, we need to it's important for us to recognize the boundaries that we need to set to provide ourselves that me time, or that time that we're connecting with our happiness, whether, that's playing golf for an afternoon or whatever that is. And those boundaries need to also be set with our phones. And that when you say, I'm unplugging because I need to do my exercise, because that literally, and it is making you money, because when you then are back on the job site, your batteries are full and you're way more productive than you would be if we weren't recharging. And so sometimes the boundaries are those people that are those constant drains, and they're like maybe those employees who are calling every 2 seconds because they don't know what to do next. And like redirecting those. Or it could be like, and I know from my husband, and not just him, but a lot of people, their phone, they need to disconnect from that too, because that thing could be ringing off all the time, and the emails and the text messages. I don't know if that's also something that can overwhelm you.
100%. Yeah.
Is Clifford, is the way that you're handling things now, because it sounds like, and I'm so glad that I'm hearing that, because ever since I've met you, from the time that then to now, things have gotten great, better, and life is still challenging, but you're still handling it really well. Is this all rubbing off on people around you? Is it rubbing off?
You cut off a bit there. Sorry, Manny.
I was just saying, is like what you're doing in life and how you're handling things, is it rubbing off on your employees?
Now that I'm prioritizing myself a lot more, things like where before I'd kind of let things build up, and then like you say, you take it on to the next day, and and no matter how many hours you're putting into something, you don't necessarily feel any better.
Yeah.
You're trying to then, you're just basically burning yourself out to try and to find a fix, which is part of the business owner. You're fixing other people's problems. They're doing something they told you could do, and then they're not doing it. But yeah, as soon as I started prioritizing myself over that, like I said, it's my time. End of story. If you want to call me after I've been to the gym, by all means, I'll deal with it. But like I said, everything just seemed to be a lot more clearer. You don't seem to take out your frustrations on other people anymore. Things happen, you deal with them a lot better. You don't get this like, angry Adams kind of walking around just like dragging her arms. Again, you're just burning time with all that frustration where you could be fixing things.
It's totally true. Totally true.
Such great points there. Thank you so much for sharing all of that.
No problem.
Thank you so much, Clifford. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, man. I really appreciate it, and I love that. We briefly talk on DMs when I'm posting something, or you kind of repost something, and we see it, and we're like, both of us we connect with it, we see it, and it's just those little pieces, those tiny little moments that are actually helping each other, right?
100%. That's what I'm all about. I'm about helping other people, because I know I've been there. I've been in the dumps. My mind's been in some really low places when I was really pushing out them hours, 7 days a week. And now I've just kind of like I say, I prioritize myself as well as work, and I kind of find that balance, and that really helped me for sure.
Thanks so much, Clifford. We're going to go now. Thanks so much for taking the time to jump on the call, and then we'll talk soon, and enjoy the rest of the weekend. Really appreciate it, man.
Sounds good, Manny. You too.
All right.
Soon.
Take care. Bye.
Have a good one. Chat. Thanks. Bye.
That was great.
Yeah, what I loved about what he shared, which just is so important, is, just to call out, is that the work is never done. Like we
No.
think, as you just said at the end, that you think, okay, I'm just going to try to like burn it out and keep going. No, it's never done. It's that you show up the next day and it's just like more and more. It is
All
literally
the more reason not to have the phone tethered to you constantly on. Or like I've said it over and over on the show so many times, get rid of all the notifications. You do not need a chime telling you that an email came in, a text came in, a social media DM came in. You don't need any of these notifications. Shut them all off. Completely shut them all off.
And sometimes I just feel like we could go back to when it was the rotary phone days.
Oh,
right?
I love that.
And you were like a free bird all day. Nobody could get in touch with you, right?
Love that.
I know.
You have to knock on somebody's door to find out, is he home? No, he's down the street. He's on a bike somewhere. That doesn't have an air tag on it.
Yeah, right. And now, as you said, with the notifications, it's on and they don't stop because people, I'm like, Pete, just because somebody emails you or sends you a message at 10 o'clock at night because it was convenient for them
Yes.
or on a Sunday or whatever.
Yes.
Like we used to have these boundaries where you don't call people after 8 o'clock. I remember growing up, it was like the phone is ringing there, and it's like,
How dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you?
And now people are emailing, sending message 3 o'clock in the morning because they wake up. And I'm like, doesn't mean you have to go and look. So the boundaries on the phone is so important.
We're calling Larry now, out west in BC. Hopefully he answers.
I love this cross Canada calling, right? We were from like New Brunswick all the way to BC. This is amazing. Love it.
Oh, don't tell me it's the same thing where it's like he's hearing, but he's not there. Can you hear me, Larry? Larry. Hello? Larry. Oh, I don't know what's going on here. It's not. Let me call you right back. If you can hear me, I'm going to call you right back. There we go.
You've reached Larry Serpa.
Maybe he just went to his voicemail because he tried to answer it.
Yeah, but
Or he's calling you back, maybe.
he knows that I'm calling him.
Hey, bro.
Hey, what's going on, Larry? Sorry about that. Were you hearing me or not hearing me?
I can. Yeah, you're breaking up. Like crazy.
I know. There's something here, man. It's just
Oh,
like,
that's bad.
is that bad? Is that worse? Is that better? Tell me if is it any better or what? I'm literally like on an island moving my phone around.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Can you hear me or no?
No, it's bad. Like, do you have an internet connection there?
That's what it is. I'm on the internet connection. That's actually better. Do you want me to call you back and see if it turns out better?
Oh, wow.
Is that okay
Like,
or no?
what about like WhatsApp or FaceTime or something like that?
No, it's connected to this. Let me call you. I'll call you right back. Let me call you right back. All right. You were just talking about you love this cross country thing. Is that working? It was best over here.
If you get a cramp holding.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I think that sounds a little bit better.
Okay, there we go. And all right, Larry, I want to introduce you to Teresa Greco here.
Hi.
Hello.
You can hear us?
Yes, she sounds a little bit off in the distance, but I can go to somewhere a little bit more peaceful
Maybe you
and
want to
quiet.
speak if you're like, I don't know. Where are you at? Where are you right now? Are you at the bar?
I'm at home.
It's 11 o'clock in the morning.
Baseboards.
It's 11 o'clock in the morning for you, right?
Yeah, I'm mudding my baseboards.
Oh, really?
Trying to do some prep.
Oh,
yeah.
look at you, eh? Working.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Trying to get some work done.
Well, thanks so much for jumping on the call real quick here. And
no problem.
I wanted to reach out to you. I mean, I saw you last week.
Yes, we did.
No, because you've been jet setting quite a bit, but I thought it was an interesting angle to get you on the show to talk about. I guess we go through life stages and how we find different definitions of happiness during our life stages. And I don't want you to get too personal about what's going on in your life in general, but it was amazing having a conversation with you about something that you're planning and you're asking me about. And I was like, I'm interested. Let's talk about this, because the conversation was making both of us really happy and talking about the potential behind it. So then it got me thinking about new happiness in life.
I personally, I think over the years, especially in the last couple of years, and one of the reasons is there's something had happened very tragic in my life, which was a separation and a divorce and losing my family, my immediate family, and my kids, and what I had was I thought a wife and a family. It opened my eyes to things that I would have never seen before, and the reason why I believe is that we get used to just doing the day-to-day things all the time. It just becomes clockwork. You go to work, you have to provide for the family, talking to the kids and on vacations, and then, 1 week turns into a month, turns into a year, it turns into 10 years. And you just turn into this cycle that you just do whatever that needs to be done next. You get this like push. And happiness per se is kind of like an accessory that sometimes just appears. It's kind of like a McDonald's surprise toy. When you get the toy, the Happy Meal, you're like, yeah, great. And then sometimes the toy is kind of cool, and sometimes the toy is, crap. Yeah. So life throws you all these toys at you, all these different surprises, and it depends on like how you look at it. And then the pursuit of happiness is something that I never thought that I would try to achieve or accomplish, but it's something that I now see that life isn't about the pursuit of happiness. Life is about being in peace, and being in peace is where you find happiness. Because if you're at peace with yourself, peace with your family, peace with your work, peace in your life, then this is where I've found most of my happiness, right? Because happiness is really, my understanding, I'm not the smartest person on the planet. Happiness is a feeling. You could be happy, and you could get terrible news and be sad within seconds.
Yeah. Right.
So it's a feeling. It's a feeling that we get, but the most important, I think, I don't know what that was. Is being in peace, and most definitely in the last couple of weeks, I've really, really, really found peace, and this peace is in me, through me, beyond me, and it's a series of events that had happened, and in order for those series of events to be happening, you have to be living, I think, the moment. So you're not thinking about the past, the things that you've done right or wrong, looking at the future, on what could be, should be, would be. It's just like you're living the now, like right now, that you don't even know if you're going to be up tomorrow. And I think that's where I found the peace in my life. And then this is where the small little things of happiness kind of then now appears in little surprises.
I love it.
Hearing the birds chirp in the morning. Yeah. Absolutely love it. Not that I didn't hear the birds before. There's this another sense of appreciation that I don't know if you can hear them right now.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah. So, hearing the birds chirp in the morning, just the fact of being able to open your eyes and live one more day is just such a blessing. And just looking at, like we had talked about, looking at the 99 things that you do right and not focused on the one thing that you do wrong. Right? Because we're so hyper-focused, looking at others and looking within ourselves to try to fix that 1%, which is great to try to fix it, at least pursue, but not so focused on that we forget about the other things that we do right? So, yeah.
Well said.
Yeah, there were so many good nuggets that you shared in that. At the beginning of the show, I talked about happiness being the core of who we are is love, peace, and happiness. So all of those things. And so when you said, "Oh, I feel like I'm tapped into my happiness when I'm at peace," that makes sense because they're all connected. They're actually all connected to love. Love is the foundation of it all. I look at love like the prism. And then when we shine a light through the prism, it creates this beautiful spectrum of colors. And the spectrum of colors is all the good feeling emotions that we feel because of love. And so we feel happiness and joy and peace and harmony and all the other wonderful emotions that they are the byproduct or like natural result of when we're connected to that happiness. So, sorry, to that love. So when we're loving what we're doing, we're loving our work, we're loving what we're making, we're loving what we're creating, we feel joy from that as a natural byproduct of it. Or when we're hanging out with someone and we really love them, we feel so in love. Well, happiness is just a natural byproduct of that too. So love is really the core of that.
Love covers out all, I've heard before.
All of that. So even the love and the happiness and peace that you said, I would only like to add, the happiness is actually more than just an emotion. Happiness as an emotion is just our emotional self. Then we have our mental self that needs to be in alignment with that, and our physical self, because happiness is who we are. It's not just psychology wants to say that it's a state of mind. That's only our mental self. That's only us having happy thoughts about things, or us looking at things from a positive perspective. That's only our mental self. So that's one aspect that, let's say, has to align with the happiness that we naturally are. That is really an innate quality of our spiritual self. So when we're connected to our inner being versus our outer being, and we align those other aspects to the happiness that we are, then we feel it always. So when you said about happiness being something that you feel, as the happy, the toy in the happiness meal, that's unfortunate, because happiness, as we've been talking about it on the show today, is that it is like the electricity that is flowing through the walls all the time. But we don't make time to plug in to that electricity and recharge our batteries. So happiness is always in there for you to feel, and to feel in abundance. But it's a matter of us making time to plug into the wall in order for us to feel it.
Right.
Was there a moment, Larry, like, was it recent, or was there like something specific? Was there like, I don't know, like, was there just something subtle?
Like a aha moment?
Yeah, like a little light bulb, literally a light bulb moment, right? That you just realized, hang on a sec, I've been looking at this completely different.
Yeah, I think for me, it was surrendering. It was surrendering. Some people can call it God. Some people call it the universe, whatever you want to call it. I surrendered. I surrendered my life. I surrendered everything, that my worries, my cares, my dreams. I surrendered. And then through that, I found peace, because no longer I am driving the lifeboat. I am going through the lifeboat, and I'm on the lifeboat, and I'm doing my best, but not having to try to steer, having someone else, basically a captain, steer my boat.
Was there a lot of fear at that moment too?
A lot of fear? No, I think it was just a lot of emotion. There was a lot of I think intensity in terms of a little bit of maybe anger and frustration and confusion. And I think it's kind of like trying to walk a straight line. If you're really, really drunk, you can't. But if you're drunk in the spirit, I mean, if you're focused, then you can walk that line, because you have now almost like a destination. You have a goal. Right. And I think Jordan Peterson, I've heard him say, where he's like, a path or any goal is better than no goal.
Yep.
Because at least you're steering towards a direction. So now that I feel like I've surrendered, the direction in which I need to go has become clear, because no longer I'm the one driving. I'm the co-pilot.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
The direction that I'm going is very clear, because I'm just a co-pilot. I'm being told where we're going. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
it totally makes sense.
We need that.
Yeah.
We need that, because if we feel like we're doing life alone, which is just us and the rest of the world, we feel lost in that. And we can't. The weight of the world is a lot. And when we can
huge.
surrender to the power that's greater than us, as you said, whatever word you want to use, it's all the same thing. But when we can say and throw up our hands and our challenges and hardships and all the things that weigh us down to something, to a power much greater than ourselves, it's like, I can do this now because I'm letting some of it go. And so thank you for that, because I think that is really important, and it helps us to do life every day.
For sure.
Thanks, Larry. Really appreciate it, man. Always a pleasure to see you, bro.
Likewise, man.
And talk.
Like a brother.
Yeah, no, totally, man. Totally. And we'll see what happens in the future. But I got a lot of respect for you, bro. I love what you're doing.
Likewise.
And we'll see what happens, man.
All great
For
work.
sure.
All great work.
Thanks so much for taking the time and jumping on the call. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. No problem.
Get
Thanks,
back
guys.
to work now. Finish the trim.
All right, I will.
Okay.
I'm going to go mud my life away.
All right. Take care, Larry. Ciao,
play
ciao.
mud. All right, see you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
That was great.
Oh my goodness. I think that was like the perfect one. He mentioned so many things that
I just
didn't
saw him
even get
recently,
to
and we
highlight.
had a very, very long conversation about him letting go, him like discovering something, and he was telling me all about it, and I was in awe of it. I was 100% in awe of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And the gratitude piece came out in that too, which I wanted to pull out. Him just saying, being grateful for that which we do have, right? Finding the positive out of the negative.
Let's see if I have more technical problems here now. We have Laurie coming up next.
Hi, May.
Hey, Laurie.
Hi,
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, fine. Hey, Laurie, meet Teresa.
Hi.
Hi, Teresa.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you guys?
Good, good. Thanks so much for jumping on the call.
Appreciate it.
How's everything?
How's life? Are you happy?
How's everything? How's everything? She's on our page. Yeah.
Good. Everything is good. You guys?
Good. Yeah. We're having a good day. We're having a good recording here. A great show. We're having a lot of interesting conversations with a bunch of different people, and everyone's got good and bad going on in their lives. But we're all navigating it as best we can.
This is ebb and flow. I mean, I think that's the key, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's,
So it can't always be good because you'll never know what it is if you don't have the shit.
Yep. That unfortunately, this shit helps us to identify when things are going well. We need that contrast, that yin and yang, to be able to know when things are in the light and they're going well. Unfortunately, it's the negative that helps us to figure that out.
Exactly.
Let me ask you, Laurie, how's the last decade been for you? Has it been better or worse?
Oh my gosh.
Or is that perspective?
So I think, for me, I think the last decade in general has been probably the most challenging of my life, but definitely the most character building and distilling. Mm-hmm. So, both my parents got diagnosed with cancer. I moved on professionally from something that I was in for 25 years after, a long, difficult period, starting over at a mature age in an industry that's very male dominated. There have been significant challenges, but, and then COVID, COVID was just difficult for me because I think, like a lot of people, you really kind of audit your relationships with people and your view of the world,
Mm-hmm.
So, that was kind of in anticipation of this call. I was thinking a lot about, some of the things that I would ask Teresa, and it's like, I guess one of the biggest things that I've noticed a lot is just feel like a lot of people are really focusing on this like fake positive, like manifest your happiness and like it kind of drives me crazy because I don't know how, it just feels a bit contrived. And, is happiness that contrived.
And sorry, I just wanted to get clarification as to which decade we're talking about that you're in now.
Oh, the last decade. They're just
No,
past decade.
just like
Yeah, the last 10 years.
No, but just when she said where she is in her life, which decade with your parents being ill? Like, are we looking at
In the last 10 years, all this stuff
in your
has
life
happened.
And would it be like in your life the between 40s and 50s? Like, where are we at? Because that
in my decade, exactly, early 40s to early 50s.
Yeah, and because that's where we are, which decade we're in. So for me, it was the milestone of turning 40 that had me taking a step back and reevaluating my life, because at that point I had achieved all the things that family, society, culture, religion told me I needed to have a happy life, and still didn't feel happy. It didn't make sense. So I think that, like, at the halfway point, if we look at 80 as maybe on the young side of when our life might end, but so I think that our perspective on life when we reach this halfway point is a little bit different. I like what you said. So two things I wanted to highlight. But first, I'll address the toxic positivity thing that you brought up about, people just said, everything is like butterflies and roses. And life is not that. Life is, us. Every day there's light. It's like up and downs. Things happen outside of ourselves. It's how do we want to show up, and how do we navigate the challenges that present themselves. We have to, I think at this point also in our life is when we need to start reflecting on whether we're showing up as our true and authentic selves in every moment. That I had lost myself in the living of my life, in trying to be the perfect mom, perfect wife, perfect daughter, perfect teacher, perfect friend, perfect whoever I needed to be, all living up to external expectations and having lost myself. I didn't even know who that was. And toxic positivity, I feel like, is like that. It's people not being and showing up as their true and authentic self, because when we are true, there are days that we're not, always smiling and everything isn't roses. Like that's just the truth. And so it's like, what do we do when we're disconnected? So happiness for me is an innate quality of our spiritual self. It is always there within us to feel. It is like, and we've been talking about it, again, it's electricity that is flowing through the walls. And when we choose to make time to connect to that happiness that's always there within us to feel, and to feel in abundance, is when we're going to feel happy. And so again, it's not about things aligning outside of yourself, because they will never be aligned. It's what time are you going to make for yourself to plug in, to recharge your batteries full of the happiness that's always there.
Right. So I'm having a little bit of trouble hearing you. You cut in and out, but I don't know. I think I got the essence of what you're saying. I do agree with that perspective too, but I'm at heart an introvert, and I'm very spiritual. So, everybody defines that as a different thing, but I'm Christian, and, I'm church going and all that stuff. But above and beyond that, I'm very self-aware. And I'm pretty sure that helped me navigate a lot of, the challenges that I faced. I guess the other thing that's a little bit unconscious of what you're saying is, in my own little research of like what constitutes happiness and what makes people happy. And this is where I struggle with things, and it's going to sound really funny, but it's like what they say, the happiest people are ones that have like those, very integral, important connections. Like we're social beings, and even if it's just to connect with one person. And I'm just finding, like, as I get older, I mean, you kind of like really get into this just super introverted. I mean, at least for me, I was by nature an introvert. And it's like, I want to deal less and less with people.
You're not the only one. I'll tell you that much.
This is exactly what it is. So it's like, and then with business, obviously business is people. And then you're consolidating, what makes, like, how do you find happiness when you can't make people happy? And I'm talking now at this point, like on a customer level, right? Because it's kind of gotten to the point now, Manny, as you know, in our industry, that it's almost like people all think they know it. Like, I went to see a client today.
They don't care.
And and it's just, it's, I don't even know that they don't care, but everybody thinks that they know, and they know more than you. And it's like, okay, then, like, I have no service to you. And, what we do is all about service. And so it's kind of like, so now your purpose, because I think it's really important to have a purpose in life as well, because you can't just be completely self-absorbed and isolated. So then you kind of just question, like, okay, so what am I doing here? And then that translates into, relationships as well, right? I mean, we can talk about this through the transcending of multiple layers in our lives, right? Different people. So anyway, all to say that as I get older, I'm finding it difficult to be around people and be happy.
No, I guess what I want to ask you is, I'm curious, because I'm probably going through the same thing, is that I find it more and more difficult to connect with people.
Yes.
As I get older. Yeah, just period. Yeah, I find it more difficult. And I don't know, I don't think I'm being selfish by dismissing somebody. And when I say dismiss, I mean, if they start talking to me about 1 + 1 = 5, I just walk away, because I'm not interested in having that conversation. If you genuinely believe 1 + 1 = 5, then that's your happiness. That's great, but it's not my happiness. So then I dismiss that situation, because I want to get away from that, because I want to go find something that actually puts a smile on my face. So I've told people before, listen, I don't want any negativity around me. I'm not and I don't want to be around that. I'm not interested in that. So if you are a negative person, I don't want that kind of cascading over me. So I'd rather go find somebody else that's got such a positive energy.
Don't you guys find people generally who don't have these opposing, I'm not going to say that they're weird or odd or whatever, because everybody's entitled to feel the way they are. I mean, this is the world we live in now. Mm-hmm. But opposing views, if you don't share that opposing view, it's like you're the problem.
It dictates how they're going to treat you.
And it's like, I have a problem with that, because, like, I don't care. I mean, this is the same thing with the whole COVID debate. And I think you and I have talked about this, Manny. Mm-hmm. I don't care. You want to go get vaccinated. You believe in all the bullshit that they're telling you. Now it's all coming out 2 years post trauma. But it's like, the people who didn't necessarily subscribe to the whole narrative were the conspiracy theorists and were the problem. When it's coming out more and more that we've been lied to on a level that we've never seen in humanity ever. And how do you impart this on people that you just don't share? And I never told people to get vaccinated, not to get vaccinated. Just leave me alone about it.
But I almost feel like so many people are missing the point of just finding the sweetness of happiness. Isn't there that Italian saying, sweetness of life or something like that? There's a phrase, and I always love hearing it. And it's just like finding the simplicity in life and finding how happy it is to have that simplicity in your life versus having this aggressive kind of nature between each other, between people. You know what I mean by it? Did I lose you?
Yeah, again, I'm having trouble. I don't know if it's my phone or yours.
No, it could be the whole connection here. I was just saying about just the simplicity in life. And like, I find that majority of people want to be aggressive instead of being nurtured.
Yes.
I want to just say something.
Can you hear, Laurie? Can you hear Teresa?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
To the relationship piece. So the longest study that was done in psychology on relationships, so 75 years, that it determined that one of the indicators, let's say, or predictors of our happiness is the quality of our relationship. So it wasn't just that we're social beings, it's the actual quality of our relationships. And I think that as we get older, we start to actually understand more about what that means about the quality versus quantity
For
of
sure.
our relationships, right? And that, it is life's events that help us to learn more about ourselves. And in the learning of ourselves, do we then be able to see that are the people that are in my life, are they aligning with who I am? And, you mentioned about COVID, and I ended up losing my best friend that, since 12 years old because of our opposing
Difference of opinion.
Yeah. And not just over that, but it brought up, other things about my life that apparently didn't align. And so, and I made the choice that I'm like, I just think that I'm in a different place now. And so I find that my social group, as you've said, is becoming smaller and smaller, but
I'm down to one.
I'm actually okay with that because
I'm down to my dog.
Right? And that makes sense because our pets are unconditional love. So that makes sense. But I think that it's important for us not to mourn, the death of relationships that aren't serving us. We've been talking about boundaries today, and it's important for us to always be protecting our peace. And protecting our peace means that we don't waste time because time is so precious. And if I'm going to practice self-care, which is me tapping into my happiness, me plugging into the happiness that's, flowing through the walls and recharging my battery, I'm going to choose, what it is that I'm doing with my time. And I am doing that, I would say, I'm being selective about who those people are.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
We need to do that.
Yes. Laurie, thank you so much for jumping on the call, being a part of this.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Say hi to Bella for me.
I will.
That's her puppy.
We'll come see you.
That's her adorable puppy.
Thank
you, Laurie. Take care.
Bye.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Good.
Yeah, good points about the relationship piece in that interview.
Next up, we have Taha. Let's see how this is going to go. I think he might be on a job site.
And I think as you get older too, it's in.
Hello? Crewmen Group.
Hey, is T around? Taha around?
Sorry?
Where's Taha?
Give me a sec. Give me a sec.
Oh, okay, no problem. Yeah, he's on a job site.
Oh. Are you in pride, bro?
Bro,
Hello?
what's up, bro?
How are you, Manny?
How are you, man? You're on the show right now.
Man, just working away.
I know you're working away. You got a second to can you chat or what?
Yeah, always for you, always, man.
What are you guys breaking up today?
We're doing some electrical, some flooring. We're ripping the floor out of a washroom to make a beautiful, custom, seamless, curbless shower. Oh my goodness! Hey, Cooper, we got new guys learning and teaching the young guys, and
Nice. I want to introduce you to Teresa Greco, who's on the show here. We're going to talk about happiness for a brief moment.
Hello.
Oh, absolutely. Hold on. Well, give me 1 sec. Hi, Teresa. Just give me 1 sec.
Sure.
Love it. Right in the field as we're talking.
Just gonna cover it so you guys don't fall to
He's
the floor.
got to direct
Thanks,
the crew.
buddy. And then just give me 5-10 minutes, please. Hello?
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I know you're busy. I know you're constantly busy, right? So
No worries, man. Anytime for Manny
thanks, bro.
and Teresa.
All right. So I know that the last time you were on the show, we had some interesting conversations. We were talking about a bunch of things, and then even before that, you were talking about a bunch of things. But I do love seeing that your content. You guys are always smashing, getting things done, and you got like such a positive vibe going on the job site. But I know that not everything's perfect. So I wanted to ask you, how you keeping everything together, man?
Me, brother, honestly, I have a connection. Like, I have a connection to the creator, to the universe, to what's out there, as you may.
Yeah.
Right? So, in a sense, mentally, no matter what, like, for instance, just let me explain. Let me say something. What happened yesterday, right?
Okay.
I sent you pictures. That job, amazing, by the way. We killed it.
I love it.
We were there We're there till fucking 11 o'clock.
He's
the guy
he's
said,
building
oh
a pool.
my God,
He's building a pool.
crazy.
Yeah.
But for me, what I do is, like, you got to understand, the tests will never stop, man. They're never going to stop. So I'm trying to get a quick cut. My quick cut's not working. I really need a quick cut to cut coping bad. And we don't have one now. Mine broke down. I have two of them. They both stopped working. What am I to do? I have to go. I go to Home Depot. I try to pay. My credit card's blocked. What am I to do? Then I go. I try, and then you can't rent it because you need a driver's license and whatnot with the same credit card. And the credit card's blocked. Okay, my credit card's blocked. Now I have to figure it out. I call my other buddy. He has a quick cut. He has to go. Now I got to grease him off $100 and I get a quick cut. And no matter what, then I come home and my kid wakes me up last night and there's a hole in the ceiling and the water's leaking down. And I'm like, what am I to do? The tests don't stop. Like, right? So mentally, no matter what, stuff's going to happen to us all day, every day. We can't let it get to us and make it emotional where we get angry and get upset and get all flustered and clustered, and right? We have to just be like, take it and that's it. Okay, let me figure it out. My credit card's blocked. Okay, I'm going to call the credit card company, whatever, figure it out. Boom. While I'm waiting for that, I got to go. I'll call a buddy, figure out how I'm going to get the quick cut. Go pick up the quick cut from Sully, bring it to Jimbo so Jimbo can keep cutting. And okay, boom, I got that solved. Now my tire has a screw in it because the guy dropped the screws and I didn't know. And now, okay, now I have good thing. Got a tire patch, got to patch the tire now. No, there's no anger, bro. It's just, hey, no matter what, this is construction. Shit happens, bro.
How did you handle it before you realized that you had this connection? Man. How would you treat all those scenarios?
I would be angry. I would get angry. I would resort to drinking alcohol, or I never really do drugs, but like alcohol. There's going to bars. There's friends. I would just talk or whatever and just waste time and just have emotions. Like what I'm saying is, men's and women too, like there's too much emotions in your lives where whatever's going on, you got to remember the universe has it set for you.
Yeah.
So why are your death? We have witnessed death, Manny.
Mm-hmm.
It's coming for you.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you worried about? Who cares, man? It's like, it doesn't matter. None of this matters, right? If you really think about it, right? Your little problems are minuscule to the other guy's problems, right? And then the other guy's problems are minuscule to yours.
Yeah.
Like everybody has problems, Manny. And you're always going to have problems, right? Even if you look into religion and history, all the prophets in our time, Jesus, Moses, Abraham, peace be upon all of them, Prophet Muhammad, all these guys had trials and tribulations over like crazy. People were trying to kill them. They were trying to get robbed. They were being called rapists. They're being called the worst of things. They're being put up on a cross and crucified. And what, like, buddy, we have it easy. Your little problems that we have in our world, in our time, nobody's trying to kill us and kill all our children. There's no Pharaoh. There's no Ramses, bro, that is going to kill my first son, right? Like, people had it, or trying to enslave me. There's no one trying to, right? Our problems are minuscule problems compared to what really is going on. So happiness is all in the mind, where if you want to be happy in life, like me, my word to Allah, my word on my bootang and all my kids, I'm probably the happiest guy you've ever met.
I know you
are.
I know you are.
Ever.
Yeah.
And I've been through enough things. You already know some of the stuff I've been through, Manny.
Yeah.
I've been through it all my life. I have my buddies. I have people tell me, buddy, your life was like a movie, the stuff you've done. Because these guys, some people know me as a kid and growing up and all this stuff. Buddy, and I'm still going, right? So with me, it's like if I can do it, anybody can do it. If I can be happy, it's all mentals. And there's no with me, I don't drink alcohol. I don't do drugs. I'm on a next high, on a next level of, like, I found something I love, which is construction. CONTRUKSH.
I've never seen
Fucking-
somebody who loves construction as much as you have, man.
But, buddy, my mama told me I was born on a construction site, man. The house my dad was building in Pakistan, Allah bless my father's grave. He was renovating and we were building and we were still living on it. And my mom, I was born in that house. I was born in a house. There's no time. I just came out. Like, yo, let me work. I'm out here. But I was literally born on a construction site.
It was a diaper and a tool belt at the same time, right?
Exactly.
That's what it
Exactly.
was. Taha, tell us some happy things that happened today.
Today, some happy things. Oh my God, I hit my hammer so hard, right? Like we were at the other job, the interlocking one first this morning, and then it rained out on us. I hit my hammer so hard, and I swore I was like yelling it kind of, and the window was open, and the homeowner, I guess, heard. And because I was like, fuck, it was so hard, bro. And my thumb is still throbbing, and I was so pissed because I told my guy to hit this nail down, and he didn't. So technically, it's his fault because I fucking told him to put the nail down.
You're telling me about
but then
something
I
that
went to
happened.
do it, and I hurt myself. So it's his fault. But whatever. Everything's my fault at the end of the day. That's another thing of being happy is blame yourself for everything, even though the next guy did it. In your mind, just swallow it and say, yo, man, it's my fault. I'm in charge anyways. Whatever, it's my fault. Think of yourself as a boss, everybody, in your own supervillain life of whatever it is you do. You study, you write books, you do a lawyer, you're a whatever you are, you do it as the best you can.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So again, I hit myself in the hammer. I swear, and I kind of quiet my mouth. The homeowner came and was like, hey, you know what? I forgot to give this to you yesterday. Bang, gives me an envelope. Yeehaw! I didn't even remember my fucking thumb, buddy. I was like, yeehaw! Let's go. Like,
You forgot the pain of the thumb that quickly?
Huh?
You forgot the pain of the thumb that quickly?
Right away. I didn't even feel. I grabbed the envelope with the same hand. I just put it in my pocket for my bootang, and I got some chicken, boys. Let's go. Next task. We're eating tasks, man. We're creating art, right? So at the end of the day, everybody is different. With me, I'm all about I'm 100 miles an hour all day. Like we worked last night. I must have got home till like 12. Woke up this morning. It was at it again. We were a little late today, but 8, 9, I'm at it again, right? And it's the busyness of that kind of keeps you busy. Is also happy too. A busy bee is a happy bee. Whatever they say, I don't know. Worker bees, I don't know. But right, what I'm on is where there's a call also. 5 times a day. You're supposed to stop. You're supposed to thank the Creator. Put your head to the ground, man, and thank the Creator. Allah, thank you for my legs, even, bro. Thank you for my eyesight. These are gifts I have, and my arms. Thank you for this beautiful, amazing, chiseled six-pack that I have. But you know what I mean? Like, thank you for these jobs. Thank you. I pray for even, Allah bless Manny. Allah bless my buddy Darko, all the Saleh, all these guys. Jimmy, guide them. May we be on the right path. Because again, this world we're living in is kind of it's set up to bring us down, and it's set up for us to be drunkards and be, this term. Have you ever heard the term bread and circus?
No.
So it's a term. I was told this by one of our clients. I was building his house, and he told me because I guess the Super Bowl was on and whatever, and all the guys that trade, whatever, all these guys, they're not there. I'm there on the site, though. I don't give a fuck. I'm digging. And me and my guy are there. So long story short, the homeowner, he's like, you're going to be so amazing. You're going to be so successful. And this is when I was young, back in the day. You're going to be so successful. You're different from everyone because you don't care for the bread and circus. And I said to him, Al, what's bread and circus? And he's like, in the Roman times, when the emperor wanted to control the people and keep them dumb, and he wanted to go and rape and pillage and do other things in whatever countries and what they're doing, or when things were bad and they didn't want the people to know, the citizens, they would keep them busy with that Coliseum. They built beautiful build, by the way. I could build it. I'd build it better, a little better, but that Coliseum's a good build, man, and you know that. But so they built that Coliseum so they would have gladiators fight and do all this numbnutness.
Distraction.
So the
I
people
know.
would be busy. The people would be busy and they wouldn't realize, hey, there's no food and oh my God, the taxes are up and holy shit.
Yes.
So now it's like, wow, people care about LeBron James and all these fucking whatever these guys are.
Yeah.
And they're wasting their time. They're wasting. Allah says time, it's a haram to waste time, brother.
Mm-hmm.
Even to waste time. Man is at fault by time.
Yeah.
So how can I waste my time? Imagine me. I can't even sit still for 10 minutes. How am I going to sit there for an hour watching a baseball game or something? Bro, I can't do it.
I agree.
I can't. But there's people that do it. So they're entertained now. And then now they start caring about these people that are hitting. They're literally swinging bats at balls. Who gives a shit? I have to feed my kids. My kids need cucumbers and fucking vegan stuff. It's expensive, right? Like, I need to bang, bro. I need to do what I'm doing, right?
I gotta let you go, Taha. I know that you can go on for hours, man. I gotta get you back on the show, but I'm sure you gotta do a couple of shout outs. You gonna do a couple of shout outs before I let you go?
I would love to. I shout out Robin Starr, my Bootang, and my kids, and all my Sully and Crewmen Group members all over the place, and shout out to you guys. Thank you so much, man. I'm sorry I couldn't be longer, and we got things going on.
No, you got a lot of stuff going on. Thanks. I'm going to pass by. I'm coming by. Yeah.
One last thing.
Oh,
with happiness, at the end of the day, it's all in the mind. Vacations are in the mind. Everything is mental. So if you're not right in your mind, that's a good thing as well, because you're moving up. You got somewhere to go.
100%. Thanks, T.
Right. Thank you so much, Manny. We'll keep in touch, man.
Okay, we'll talk soon. Take care, brother.
Thank you. Okay, bye.
All right, ciao, ciao. Yeah, I forgot to warn you. And we have our last one, which is Jason. Let me get Jason here.
Apparently, he's got it all figured out, Manny.
No, he's gone through quite a bit. But
there were some good things that I wanted to highlight from what he said.
We'll talk about it right after this. Yeah.
Hello,
Jason.
Manny, how are you?
Can you hear me? Is it okay, the connection? Or it's
Sorry,
not.
what was that?
Can you hear me? How's the connection?
Good. It's good now.
Oh, you can hear me. Okay. I want to introduce you to Teresa Greco. She's on the show right now with me.
Hi.
Hi, Teresa. How are you?
Excellent. And yourself?
Good, thank you.
This is Jason from Property Max Development.
Awesome.
How's it going, man?
Good. I'm enjoying a Saturday with my family.
Nice.
The weather, trying to unwind and recharge before the next work week. How are you guys doing?
Good. We've been having a very good show, talking to a bunch of people about happiness and stuff. And I know that your post earlier this week about stay-at-home moms really hit me, and I wanted you to actually kind of just elaborate on that and talk to Teresa about it as well too.
Sure, absolutely. What part of it really resonated with you, Manny? Or
well,
Teresa,
the value, right? Because you're right. 100% is that we can't forget like who's really in our life, and then we don't realize how important those people are until they're taken away from us. You know what I mean? And it's like that applies to almost everybody that's important to us in our lives, right? But to dismiss someone just because of who they are or what they do or what people think they don't do or do or whatever is wrong. And so it kind of connected me with me that way.
I think it's you're right on the nose with what the messages that I was trying to deliver, and it's really across the board. Not just for your spouse or your partner or your family or friends, but across the board in our industry as well. And that's validating and appreciating everybody's position in our lives and what they do and what they bring to the table and what they bring to our relationship. And for a wife or a partner, specifically stay-at-home moms, I think it's very easy for them, at least in my experience and seeing my wife, to kind of get lost in the trade winds and forget how important their role is in not only supporting us, the husband, going to work every day and being able to perform, but our children and really holding down the fort. And seeing what my wife has gone through in terms of managing the home and kids is just opened up my eyes to how I think divine and powerful women are. And it's really sad to see, you know, not just the industry, but the world in general really disproportioning the value of women and the role that they play in our lives. I've always put, you know, coming from a family where my mom was a single mom for quite some time, I've always put women on a pedestal. They're so important and so crucial to the world being, you know, a good place, a better place. So we have to value them, and we have to make sure that they don't get lost. And my hat's off to all mothers, all women, but especially single moms and moms that are, you know, holding down the fort at home. It's not something that I think I'd be able to wear the hat and do and stay sane. That's for sure.
I agree with you totally.
I think an important component to that is the appreciation on both sides, right? That I think, you know, so Manny and I have partnered because I am the daughter of a father who worked in the trades and then saw the effect of that, you know, on us as kids, as well as on my mom, who held down the fort, and the rest of all the other aspects of my father's life. She handled all of that. And then me having married someone who owns his own business, works in the trades, and being the wife of somebody, and then also now being the mother myself of a son that is also going to be working in the trades. And so I've been able to see the female perspective from all those different angles. And me, myself, brought up in a traditional home. I would say my home too also is traditional in the sense that my husband, you know, went out and did his work to provide us with all of the things that we have, and me holding down the fort, handling all the other aspects of his life. And I think that only as of late, but like let's say within the last 5 years or so, that he's become more appreciative of and aware of how his success out in the field has been because I have been maintaining the rest and all the other aspects of his life. So his home, his children, even other relationships like extended family and all of that has fallen on my shoulders. And I think he didn't realize and didn't have the appreciation for that. And I also have been making a greater effort in appreciating him for all the work that he does, handling all the things that I don't handle. You know, some of our finances and investments and things like that, you know, all falls under his umbrella. So I think that mutual appreciation is huge, and I think it gets lost in time between couples.
It does. It really does. It's a two-way street. And I think it's important that any relationship, especially when it's growing, you know, organically, it's important that it is seen as a relationship, whether it's a business relationship, a marital relationship between your employees and your trades. And the approach that I've taken in this industry, and, you know, the handle or the spin-off of being the compassionate contractor, has also opened up, I guess, a gateway for people to message me and contact me and share advice and situations and experiences with each other that has allowed me to grow as a person and as a husband, and see that the value or valuing each other does need to be reciprocated, especially after children. I've talked to so many friends, male friends and male trades that feel like, you know, that they aren't seen, they have no place in the home anymore. They don't understand what's happening on an organic and physical level, let alone the chemical and hormonal level that a woman is going through after having children. So when I saw these situations present themselves as possible problems for me in the future, or communication problems, you know, I talked to professionals. I said, listen, my wife and I are going to have kids. What can I expect? What is my wife going to go through? How can I support her? And in understanding that, it also made me realize that seeing relationships and marriages around me break down, or situations where a spouse might become lost in the entire process and maybe seek attention elsewhere. It doesn't necessarily mean that person is a bad person. They don't love their spouse. We need connection from one another. And a lot of times men, I don't think, realize exactly what's going on in a woman's body. And they feel, my wife doesn't love me. My wife didn't cook me dinner. She's not interested in me. I have to go somewhere else. That's not the case. There needs to be a better understanding of what's happening and communication. And I think delivery of the communication is so important. There's so many things going on, and on a spiritual level too. And I'm not sure, Teresa, if you jive with this approach.
Oh, totally. We've been talking about that the whole show. So please lay on the spiritual part for me.
Like the spiritual level, there's so much happening even in a man's body, even though there's nothing organically that we've done other than, we've planted the seed, we've done our deed. But once those children are born, there's so many things on a spiritual level that happen in our bodies that connect us with our children and with our spouse. And for an average male that might not be in tune with his spiritual side or what's happening in his body, he's all over the place. He's trying to run a business. He's trying to show up and provide and deliver. He doesn't know why he feels these things. There's no communication or essence of love with his spouse anymore, and everything just becomes a giant cluster, and things will naturally break down. And there needs to be more light shine down on this aspect of relationships and how they can be better and stronger and not feel uncomfortable to talk about it. I mean, if you looked at this conversation 20 years ago, even 10 years ago in our industry,
we wouldn't have it. No.
We wouldn't have compassionate contractor, Manny talking about feelings. You guys are out to lunch. Like, what's wrong with you guys? Go see a psychiatrist.
It's so true. And you know what though, Jason, to be very honest, we're about 20 years too late.
We are. We really are.
We should have been having this conversation a long time ago.
It is. It needs to, and this doesn't mean, so many men think that if you show your feelings and you talk about your feelings, you're not alpha, you're not strong. This is such a disservice to yourself as a male. And if my only pittance of involvement in this industry is to let other men know that you can be big, you can be manly, you can be burly, you can be alpha, hold down the fort, deal with business, and still be emotional and understand your emotions, then I've done my job, because I've struggled my entire life with trying to understand my place as a male. And the growth, it's an asymptote. The growth is not going to be even keel. You're going to have ups and downs. And I try to bring a spiritual approach, a faith-based approach. Like something that I read this morning that really stuck in my mind is, we can't control the wind, but we can adjust our sails. We can't control what's going to be thrown into our lives, but understanding our feelings and talking about it and communicating and having that solid relationship with your partner at home is what's going to create your happiness and the foundation of your happiness.
Yes, absolutely. And I just want to say that, we've been talking obviously about happiness, but happiness is an innate quality of our spiritual self. So when we're connected to our inner being, as you've been saying, is when we are tapping into the happiness that we are. So there's various ways that we can do that. But I think it's important that the communication gets highlighted from both people, both individuals, that oftentimes women are not communicating their true feelings. They're just whining and complaining maybe about different things that, aren't getting done or she needs help with or whatever. But oftentimes the deeper emotions aren't being also communicated. And I know that, my parents, even though my mom, I would see her complaining about, I need help with this, I need help with that, but she also wasn't sharing some of her deeper emotions towards him around, maybe how much she cared for him or how much she valued him and how much she appreciated him. And she just always seemed like a nag, where she was always complaining about what was missing instead of what was there. And I think that oftentimes we don't we're not looking for the small things. We're looking at, oh, we don't have the big house yet. We don't have the 4 bedrooms. We don't have the 2 cars. We don't have, and therefore our life isn't any good. But where's all the good? There are lots of good things, and we tend not to talk about those or to highlight those. So I think it's important that, even me, I've had to learn to be more communicative about my needs too, thinking like we think that people can read our minds. They can't. And I've realized, and I've said to my husband, like, I can't, if you need something from me, I actually need you to say it. Like, you grumbling about it or acting like, I don't know. I don't know. So it's
the Tim the Toolman Taylor grumble.
Yes. And I'm like, I actually need you to say, and I've now, instead of just being, look, I did the cold shoulder or the silent treatment and expecting him to know what I needed. He didn't know. And so communication is huge. So thank you so much for highlighting that.
Yeah. And if I do have another second here, you touched on something so important about the car, the house. I feel like, especially for women right now, especially stay-at-home moms, there's a vicious cycle going on where you're at home, you're stressed out. You have 20 minutes while one kid is sleeping to do something. Your cortisol levels are through the roof, so you pick up your phone to hit that dopamine high, and you cycle through social media, and you see everybody's amazing moments cycle through your feed. It's very rare you find people showing, the rainy days, the flip side to duality, the sadness. You're seeing the best of everything. Yep. And that gets your dopamine high. And then your husband gets home from work. You're stressed out. You've been banging off the Rev limiter all day. And you're like, I've been home with these kids all day. I'm running on red line. And how come we're still in our 2,200 square foot home driving, and watching, I'm gonna get so many messages. Why do you hate on Corollas, man? Or why are we still driving a Corolla? And the husband's like, Jesus Christ, pardon my language, I just got home. Can I just get my feet in the door? And there's this disconnect again in this poor, not this poor woman, but this lady's been home all day, bound to her house. Her hormonal levels are all over the place after having kids. She's hitting dopamine highs with social media. She's got these false expectations of reality. Her husband doesn't know what's going on. What does he do? He grabs food or a substance or social media and uses something to feel better. And we're in this vicious cycle. And Teresa, I haven't had the privilege yet of combing through all of your your posts and your media to touch on the happiness aspect, but I truly believe, and I'm learning at 38 years old, I'm starting to learn happiness really has to come within. And we need very, very little. We need minimalism to truly be happy. And we're stuck in this really vicious, dangerous rut of needing consumerism to be happy, and it's false. It's all false profit.
It's all false. So thank you so much for reiterating that. We have touched on that today, and thank you so much for highlighting that.
Thanks so much, Jason. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know that you're busy and the weekend and everything, but I really appreciate you just jumping on the call.
I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you both. Thank you so much, Teresa and Manny.
Thank you.
All right. Say hi to everybody. We'll talk soon, bro.
Okay. Take care, Manny. Have a great day.
You too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That was great. So those are all the callers there. I want to actually just thank everybody. So Jonathan, Alex, Clifford, Larry, Laurie, Taha, and Jason now. Thank you so much, everybody, to just take the time and just talk to us for a few minutes and discuss how and what's going on. And I learned a lot of stuff talking to these people. But there's a lot of common details there. And I think it doesn't matter at what stage in your life you're at or what situation, if you're dating, married, going through a divorce or what have you, what's happening in business. A lot of people shared about their professional lives, their personal lives, the overlap. I think there's a lot to unpack there, which is amazing to hear from everybody. And I really thank you so much, everybody, for jumping on the call first and then opening it up and sharing. And thank you so much, Teresa, for if there's any, bless you, if there's anything that you wanted to, I know that Taha kind of just, that's how he is, but if there's anything that you want to share that comes to mind that you want to discuss just as we get wrapping up, let's just discuss it.
I agree. I think there were some beautiful overlapping themes that came out during the conversations, different people highlighting different things, but being overlapping on someone else's, right? To say, yeah, that's important, that's important. And I think, it's obvious that Taha's pretty happy going about his life, but what is allowing him to do that is that he has coping strategies. And happy people have coping strategies that when life hits us over and over and over, he was giving us like numerous examples of how he's getting hit over and over and over. And life is doing that. But he has coping strategies that he's not even aware of. But, through what he was saying, it was like, okay, you use your spirituality or your relationship with God to be one of your coping strategies. Yeah. You look to the positive. When life is hitting you with negatives, you try to find the positive in all of that. So that's another coping strategy, that you look to all the small things as being important instead of looking with what's missing with all the big things you haven't yet achieved. So having these things that we can turn to that help us to reframe what's going on can help us to protect our peace and return us back to that place of happiness. And so he's just doing life, but I'm listening to him going, well, you're doing life well because you're doing this, you've got this, you've got this. Yes. And so that's why I'm like, I wanted it, because it would be easy for someone to say, oh, well, he's got it figured out, whatever. No, it's that he's doing some things. There's actual strategies.
He's figuring it out. Mm-hmm. He's not. I don't think he's figured it out. I don't think anybody will ever figure it out. I think they're all figuring it out. I mean, going from Jonathan having that overlap between personal and professional and trying to have that balance to, Alex talking about, his situation on how he handles ADHD, like he just trying to navigate his world and how to do that. Clifford is always turned to, he discovered quickly about the physical aspect. And he did bring it up on the show when he was on here. He was like, he'd rather have gym time instead of jail time. You know what I mean? And that's why he's been taking care of himself, because he sees the cause and effect with it, where he's a better person to his significant other. He's a better person on the job site. Larry shared that he's going through, and I've known Larry for a few years now, and he's going through some really hardships with the divorce and handling certain situations. But I love that he said he surrendered, and he just figured out how to do that. And that's really touching. And Laurie's, she's got those confrontations about people didn't, I guess, true colors came out when certain things were happening. And then you started realizing who your true friends really are. And these are conversations as we get older. We don't have these conversations, but certain situations in life were forcing us to have these conversations. And all of a sudden you realize we really don't agree with each other. We really don't mix, right? And then Taha, as you were just mentioning, he's been through quite a lot. And then Jason, he's always jumping on the mic, and he's always, what I love about Jason is that he finds those little moments in life and understands the value of those little moments. That's why I like watching Jason's videos. He'll jump on, and it could be such a tiny, tiny moment in life. And he amplifies it, he magnifies it, and he tells people to understand how big this moment is, how important this moment is. And it may not mean anything to you, but it may connect with one other person. It may connect with thousands of other people. But that's why I like he does that, and he shares that. And I've been told the same thing about certain things that I bring up as well too. So it's just very respectful for everybody bringing this up. Nobody's figured it out. Everybody's working on things, and we're all trying to find our little moments of happiness. And that's where you come in as well, right?
Yes, tapping in. That's where it is, right? It's like if you're not feeling happy, tap in. Yeah. And whatever way that works for you. As you said, for everybody it's different. So it's important to know what's in your happiness toolkit and carving out time to tap in, because as I said, if you're working 60 to 80 hours to 100 hours a week, however that much is for you, and you're leaving yourself very little time to recharge your batteries of happiness, then you're not going to feel happy. And it's always inside of you to feel, and to feel in abundance. But if you don't make time to tap into it, you're not going to feel it.
The one thing I do want to leave everybody with right now on this show is I did notice through all the people that we've spoken with, a lot of their search for happiness happened independently. And I find it kind of surprising that, I guess because we grow up and we think that we have a circle, we have people around us that could help us. And we know that we quickly discover family sometimes is not always family. And friends sometimes are not always real friends. And so I find that a lot of people, and including myself, you're discovering this alone first. And then you're kind of treading the waters to figure out who else might be going through this. You know what I mean? And then you're trying to figure out, okay, well, that's what I need to really do. And that's how I need to figure something out. And that's how I got to look at things now. And then I think sometimes you'll speak to somebody else about it and they won't agree with what you're going down or how you handle it or what you have to do or what have you. And then you realize, okay, well, maybe I'll keep it internal. I find a lot of people when I have these conversations about just your mental health and your happiness and just trying to find better purpose in life, it's an independent discovery at first. And then you kind of find like-minded people that are on the same journey. Am I wrong to say that?
I think that we are conditioned to look outside of ourselves
first
for love, for answers, right? What do you think? What do you think? Asking everybody else, like somehow asking everybody else is supposed to give you clarity as to like what you're going through or what you need help with. Nobody can, because everyone is looking at life through their own personal lens. It is 99% your own personal perception, 1% as it actually is. So you asking someone else their opinion on what you should do, it shouldn't even happen, because they are going to offer their opinion based on their 99% perception of you, which is all based on their experiences, their background, what they know. Like, it's impossible actually for someone to even give you advice because they're always giving you advice through that 99% of personal perception. So the answers really always reside within you, but we're conditioned to look outside. And I think when you finally start to realize that nobody really understands what you're going through. Everybody feels differently about lots of different things, which, came out in our conversation today too, that people are entitled, which we all are, right, to navigate life based on our 99% personal perception of how we want to do things. And so ultimately I think it's a solitary journey on the inside. And I think if we can find like-minded people along the way, to whatever percentage that could be, because again, everybody's navigating life through that personal lens.
Thanks, Teresa. We're going to do this again, right?
Yes.
This was a lot of fun.
So much fun.
It was great to talk to everybody, and it was a blast to have you back in the studio, and we'll continue doing more of these.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, that's it. We're out of here.